I will do my best to save him, my lord, she said as she locked him in the basement. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're on a streak of 0, and I don't care. I love it. Now you're gonna give me the Apollyon again. Redemption. The Redemption Tour. You could make, if this was the era, CS4V SAAP, one of the top accounting companies in the world, SAAP. Okay, we gotta use our noggin, okay? Red chests can be good. Most of the time, the item is bad. What? How? What item? This is like a brain teaser. What red chest item gives you 2 spirit hearts and nothing else? Like, I'm trying to think of items that give you 2 spirit hearts, and the only thing my brain's bringing up is Squeezy. Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened there. Or did I... Maybe... Wait, hold on. Maybe it's an active item that dropped 2 spirit hearts? Because we didn't get stats, right? So it must be an active. Hold on, I don't know, man. You ever wish that we were back in old YouTube? I've been doing the same thing on YouTube since, you know, old YouTube was a thing. Pretty much, you know, for all of the, and again, let's not get too anal about it, but for all the flack I've taken over, like, programming changes, you know, very similar kind of programming style over the course of the last 10 years. Let me put it this way. I was already making YouTube videos when a 14-year-old Rebecca Black came out with the original song Friday. Today, literally as of the day of this recording, she came out with a hyper pop remix. And, you know, I don't know, she's like older than I am now. I don't mean that to be rude, it was mostly just for humorous effect, because obviously that's like not possible. Oh, okay, I'll take a damage stat, I don't mind that. This is more like it. I'm just saying, you know, I've remained relatively copacetic and consistent on YouTube. Maybe I say the F word a little bit less often. If anything, I think I've maybe lost a little patience, but become a lot nicer. Much less mean-spirited, you know, a sweeter center, if you will. I think it's natural. I don't know, it's kind of both come with age, right? Like, some people mellow with age, some people get more bitter over time, I think. But anyway. Just so angry as a young man because of all the impoliteness at the deli counter. But I do wish that we were back in that era of YouTube. Like now, YouTube is almost like, I don't want to call it a solved game, because I think there's always room for like some kind of, you know, creativity to flow on the platform and to be rewarded. That being said, I watch like essentially no YouTubers except for like Dutch value investors, so like I don't really know what goes on the platform with the Mr. Beasts and the so on and the so forth. You know, it's kind of, it's more of a young person's game. But I miss the jank era on YouTube, where you could look at like the top 100 YouTubers by subscriber count, and you like would wonder how'd they get so popular. And you're like, oh, they had one video where they put Mentos in Diet Coke and it exploded in their face and they had a funny reaction. And now they, you know, have a 7-figure income. I mean, honestly, I should say it still kind of works that way. I think it just works that way on like other platforms. Like there are, you know, people that obviously I've never heard of. Probably many people watching this have never heard of, but are like absolutely, you know, crushing it on TikTok or Instagram or, you know, who knows what's happening with Clubhouse or whatever. Pinterest. Homegrown Simpsons stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying, there's a nice little bit of lighting on this room, huh? The stars would save us a key. Hold on. Do we know what we have in here? Did I just... Yeah, brain's feeling a little fuzzy. I got a good sleep last night, but it's kind of cold here. Oh, we know what it is. Okay. Look, the item's pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. I took no pleasure in destroying the item. But realistically, if they're not going to give us, like, 4 bombs, we're not going to get that item, in all likelihood, with the cost of a single spirit heart. Because we would use our bombs for tinted rocks, I think, first and foremost. But this run is actually, like, really good. It's almost as much damage as the run we lost on with the same character. But, you know, no hard feelings. It's been a couple of days. I always, like, whenever possible, and it's not always possible, but whenever possible, like, one of my tips for Isaac, you know, if you want to maintain... And I don't think this just applies to Isaac. I think, you know, if you have a hobby or something like that, you know, whenever possible, if you have a bad run, you know, a bad day, a bad dice roll, whatever, if you can leave, like, a one-day air gap between that kind of tragedy and the next time you actually have to, like, interface with the thing that you're talking about, I think it's for the best. So yesterday, you know, had a good stream, played some chess on YouTube. You know, I could have recorded Isaac. In fact, I probably should have. You know, based on what, you know, the backlog is like right now. But I said, you know what? Not necessary. We'll just give it another day. Come back, make sure we got a positive attitude. I mean, we're really, like, we got nothing but smiles right now. You know, we are as close as we've ever been, by definition, to the release of Repentance. Should be coming out soon. I forgot, you know, what it was like to not know what an item does. I'm so eager to pick up an item and be like, what the heck? Because even when it's bad, it's, like, kind of good because you don't know what it does. And you have, like, a little bias to be like, this is incredible! Sometimes. Sometimes items are deceptively, like, kind of good. Like Mysterious Liquid. I always thought for a while, I was like, I think this item's garbage. Turns out, decidedly not garbage. I'm still trying to tease apart the mystery of those two spirit hearts we got from that red chest room. The curse room. I don't really know what happened back there, but obviously between that and the Hierophant, that makes up literally 100% of our current balance, so I'm happy to have it, but yeah, things are going really well right now. You know, we lost an Isaac run, but that's okay. You know, you keep it in perspective. Sack of Sacks. I can't believe I haven't talked about it hither to this point, but recently we did our tier list. Honestly, it sounds wild, but we did a tier list of every item in Isaac, I should say, to be specific. That video went up on the channel, like, yesterday. I think that this one should come out on Thursday, so it went up on Wednesday. Do I recommend checking it out? Like, I'm just gonna be straight up with you. Not really. It's entertaining, I think, and it also had, like, amazing viewership when I streamed it, but I think it's one of those things it's less like, oh, it's a fundamentally entertaining piece of content, and much more like, oh my god, I can't believe he did it. Like, if we're reviewing it up against the titans of viral videos, like, if you got the choice between ranking every item in the Binding of Isaac as a video, or that Vine classic, back at it again at the Krispy Kreme, and the guy does, like, 17 backflips and then a spinning kick into the hot and fresh sign that just knocks it over. You should watch that. This is heavy reroll. Heavy reroll. But it was fun to do. Oh, that's an amazing item. It was fun to do, if only to get, like, for a couple of reasons. One is to get my thoughts down, you know, in video about how I actually feel about some of these items, because most of them exist in kind of a nebulous territory for me hither to that point. It's good, it's bad, blah, blah, blah. Now I can be like, now this is how I actually feel about this item, because I took a second to kind of think about it. But also, it might sound a little bit overly braggadocious. I don't shy away from a mammoth task that is comical just for its own existence, if that makes sense. There are things, you know, that I have not done on YouTube. You know, well, you don't shy away from mammoth tasks. What about playing Persona 5? Well, like, there's a difference, right? Like, Persona 5, first off, I think that I don't think that necessarily I would enjoy it as much as the average person. Not that I'm saying it's a bad game, I'm just, you know, just spitballing here. And then secondarily, I think analytically it would kind of destroy my channel. Like, you gotta remember, a Twitch channel is kind of, or a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel, it's kind of like a TV network, but it's run by, like, a single person most of the time. So imagine, like, hey, you know, you really like, you know, Paramount TV or whatever. They got a lot of cool shows. They don't, and I think the network actually is pivoted to, like, a subscription service. But just, the joke is, like, what if they did, right? You know, you might say like, hey, why don't you play this? But if they start to do 24-hour marathons of it, you know, the channel's really hurting itself at that point. Like that's, did you see, there was an infographic that went viral? And I guess it wasn't really an infographic, it was information presented in graphical form. It was MTV's schedule for the week. And you know, I don't think too many people that are younger than me have much attachment to MTV. I kind of, you know, my parents were from the era where like MTV kind of became insanely popular, music videos became like a genuine art form, you know, like that kind of like 1980s Prince, Madonna sort of era. So MTV was kind of like, it was still like a cultural force when I was maybe in my like late preteen days, but you know, it fell off pretty soon after that and just became like way more variety content and way less actual music content. We'll take. But, it actually still, like, I mean, I still kind of liked MTV even as, like, a teenager. Not so much for the music, but they had, you know, like, shows that kind of, it was less music television and more like, hey, if you're a teenager, here's some, like, lifestyle content about being a teenager. You know, I'm old enough that I, like, honestly, like, Teen Mom seems like a new show to me. Even though I feel like maybe they just had, like, Teen Mom Revisited and her kid is graduating from high school or something. I don't know. Anyway. Long story short, I got out before that era. But, you know, there were shows about, like, you know, there were documentaries about, like, you know, what it's like to be a teenager in, you know, like an American, you know, like, performing arts high school and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. I didn't realize, but now, literally, like, the schedule that MTV had, there were only 3 shows on it. Once a week, they played a, like a 4-hour marathon of Catfish. But between, like, 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. local time. And then I don't even remember, like, what the other show was. I think they had, like, some Jersey Shore reruns on there. And then literally the rest of the schedule, sometimes for 24 hours straight, was that America's Funniest Home Videos, but for SLC Punk show. Rob Drydeck's, you know what? This is where you just use Google Assistant. Rob Drydeck MTV show. Just give me a second here. Rob Drydeck MTV Stop showing me my dang stock portfolio. Rob Drydeck MTV assistant can't start when another app is using the microphone. Okay, so that's the baby monitor. The baby monitor uses the microphone. Okay, I'm just typing Rob Drydeck MTV ridiculousness. Yeah. I didn't realize that apparently literally all MTV is now, and I mean, who cares about cable, I guess, but all MTV is now is like ridiculousness. I feel like that's what would happen, like if I started playing Persona 5. It's one of those things that in concept, people are like, that'd be funny to see him play Persona 5. And then like as month 7 of, you know, wandering around Shinjuku trying to find, you know, the next quest or something like that was going on, they'd be like, oh my god, I didn't realize. When I said the show was funny that one time I saw it, what I didn't mean was play nothing else forever, please. But I don't shy away from, I'm happy with that speed upgrade, by the way, but I don't shy away from, like, ideas that are, they require a short, discrete burst of energy and might be a little bit comical. Like the NLSS Masters, where we just played all the golf games back-to-back that we've ever played on the show. I thought that was, I mean, I'm not going to say that was only my idea, but that's kind of what I mean, like, I'm not trying to take credit for it. It's not like it's, like, inventing penicillin or whatever, but, you know. Dumb ideas that take more time than they should, but don't take that much time, I got no problem with that. But whenever something is going to take a lot of effort and dedication, I would like to think twice about it. I'd like to say no to more things like that. I don't need Lord to help me say no to this. I sure know how to say no to this, as long as this is Persona 5. Again, I'm sure it's a great game, and NL, they just came out with the new Persona 5 Strikers. Look, I actually played Persona 4 Arena because it had a great innovation by fighting game standards. You didn't need to learn combos if you didn't want to. There was something called an auto combo, where if you landed the first strike and you just kept pressing attack over and over, it would do a combo. Now the rub of it was that you got like a 15-hit combo out of it or something like that, and it was actually pretty effective. But if you really learned the fighting game mechanics, and you could learn better combos that had, like, frame cancels and stuff like that. But honestly, it made fighting games much more fun for me at a novice level. I know that, like, if you're a fighting game purist, you're probably like, it's an abomination, but... And you would kill me every time. If you're good at fighting games and I tried to use the auto combo, you would crush me. But what it did mean is that I crushed a lot of people who were just trying to get good at fighting games, whereas I was like, I don't care, I'm just pressing X and I won again. Oh my god. That's Sierra. I thought that was Hagalaz. My mistake. That one's on me. Right. Okay. But yeah, so the Isaac tier list, I mean, if you're interested, feel free to have it up on your second monitor. It's just one of those videos where, like, let me put it this way. I don't need to tell you to watch. A lot of people are going to click on that video and be like, there's no way he actually did it. And then they're going to be like, oh my god, he actually did it. And then they're going to stop watching, which is fine. It's kind of what it's there for. That's the point. But yeah, it was fun to do, honestly, and always nice to have the opportunity to mix it up on stream. And analytically, it means the numbers are moving in the right direction, which is nice. There's a lot of ebb and flow in the industry. Always nice when you get things moving in the direction you want to have them moving in. Things are going pretty well. I mean, they're going so well. I got, like, nothing to say, man. Like again, somebody in the comments was, and they made me laugh. They said, this man's been telling me he's had no anecdotes for 6 months, and I still love it. It's true. Like, I mean, there was a brief surge of baby-related anecdotes for sure. Really, mostly comes down to, like, being a first-time parent and being like, what the heck? I didn't know that's what the first poop I ever made looked like. Oh my god, that's like biblical. And then, you just kind of get in the swing of things, like, yeah, I mean, she do be pooping, she do be eating. And then, the daily update is like, oh, she's holding her neck up, like, really well now. Now, like, when you grab her, it's always been nice to hold the baby, don't get me wrong. But, previously, the first few months of the baby's life, you gotta be really careful, because, like, they have no neck musculature at all. So if you pick them up and you don't brace their neck, they're like, look, probably not gonna cause themselves, like, serious injury if it happens, like, once or twice, but you gotta be careful, because, like, if you leave their neck unbraced for even, like, a millisecond, their head just tips forward and, the whole apple cart can go over. Now, she can hold her head up really well by herself, which is very nice. So check this. I think we want to... Does this even work? It doesn't work, right? I don't know, man. Like, you wanna... Let's just see how the... No, you know what? Let's black rune this. Yeah, now we're talking. Now we're talking 2 luck and some shot speed. Oh, baby. What am I complaining about? But it's great because now instead of picking up the baby and having to do, like, a very, gentle sort of cradle, you can pick up the baby, like, with your hands under her armpit. Yeah, we'll take that. And you can do, like, that cool, dad pickup where the baby's almost, like, standing up and you pick her up under the armpit and go, like, wee. I don't throw her up in the air yet, But, in 6 months, maybe? Maybe. We'll see how strong I am. So, yeah, that's life right now, man. Pretty standard, really, as Dr. Evil would say. I do wish I had more anecdotes, but, like, again... Dang pandemic, man. I did read today, like, not to make it too real, but, there's that, like, COVID variant going around right now that originated in England. I read today that, like, scientists are theorizing, or perhaps even are confident, that essentially that variant was created, like, within a single infected patient. Now, I'm not trying to mine this for laughs, because it's, like, a sensitive thing, but can you imagine being that guy? Like, there's been times in my life where I've treated my body very well. There's been times in my life where I didn't treat my body so well. But as much of a garbage dump as I've ever felt like, you know, eating a wrap filled with poutine and bacon, at no point did it ever become such a crucible of catastrophe that it single-handedly, you know, bred a virus variant that is now, you know, running wild through the rest of the world. I'm not suggesting necessarily it means that the infected person's body was, you know, like, not a wonderland, you know, to put it in John Mayer type terms. I'm just saying, like, that'd be hard to live with, right? I don't know, I mean, they might not even know if they're the patient that was involved with it in the first place. And then secondarily, I'm sure scientists would probably rather not leak the information, right? But can you imagine if you were that guy? I don't know, I'd never be able to show my face again. Like, I feel like you just lose every argument from that point onwards, right? Like, if you ever get in an argument with somebody, they'll be like, yeah, well, you may be right, but at least I didn't, you know, contribute an environment to making a mutation in a virus that infected, you know, millions of people around the world. Something like that, you know? You just lose every argument. We will just do that. And it's like, okay, so this is like, it's getting even more sensitive, and I apologize for this, but like there was a, and it's happened twice now, which is just like, I mean, if it wasn't tragic, it would make you laugh, right? But, you know, 2 American politicians who were like anti-lockdown, essentially, or anti the severity of the lockdown, have now like died due to COVID, usually like days after. I love it. I love it. Get me out of here. Usually days after coming out and being like, the virus isn't that serious. So it just happened with another congressman from Texas. And like, you know, here's the thing, okay? I disagree with them. But in a strictly logical, from a strictly logical lens, you can be right about something and still die from it. Okay? Like, you could, like, I could go on stream tomorrow and be like, elevators aren't that scary, and then die in an elevator accident or something, right? Like, it does, I mean, I'm not gonna say it does happen, because, you know, we're talking about, like, 1 in a several billion chance, probably, at that point, but, like, you can construct a situation in which it would happen, but I just can't imagine, like, how... Like, if there's an afterlife, I'm being very prickly about the way I phrase this, because it is a prickly issue. If there's an afterlife, I can't imagine, like, how owned I would feel if I used my platform to tweet, like, this thing's not that serious, and then, like, it killed me, right? Like, I would never be able to show my face at all the cool parties in heaven or something like that. Like... Like, you died. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, you know, oh, jeez Louise, this is a little spicy. But, like, you kind of, like, dying is, like, you lose the argument, like, right away, right? No, wait, this is better, we can do better. Pop this and play the blood bank. Okay, genius. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. Like, I live in an industry right now where, like, if you have an argument and, like, while you're arguing, you say a word wrong, like, you mispronounce it in your passion, you lose the argument, and, like, thousands of people will post lol and KEKW in chat or something like that. Can you imagine if I was having an argument, and then the thing that I was, like, arguing about freaking killed me, man? I would, like, the emote spam would be relentless. I wouldn't have that kind of confidence, like... Oh, geez, careful. I've realized, by the way, Apollyon, apparently my worst character. Probably because I keep walking into these dang fires, but... Yeah, that's true. Really glad I didn't pick up Razor. Kind of wish I went to the shop and got some HP, though. Oh, well. Nevertheless. That's Isaac, baby. I'm just saying, man, like... You know, like, it's not something... I don't know, like, here's the thing. You know, it's such a hot issue, because people are like, Twitter's merciless, right? The guy died, people are up in his mentions like, you know, don't care, didn't ask, plus you're dead. And then other people are in the, they're like, have some respect, this guy just, you know, passed away. And then other people are like, yeah, but like his flippant attitude toward the virus may have also resulted in like the public health suffering of like hundreds of thousands of other people. So you're like, okay, it's like everybody kind of sucks here. Like, if a family member of mine, like, died, and then they were getting dunked on Twitter, like, after they died, I would probably feel pretty bad. That's true. On the other hand, maybe they, you know, invited some of that onto themselves by their actions in real life, like, in the day prior to the incident, maybe? I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But all I'm trying to say is, like, I can never imagine having that kind of confidence. That is like, you know, something is possibly gonna freaking kill you, dude. So just, we gotta be careful here, but trust me, this is for the best. Like, something's possibly gonna kill you dead, and you're still sticking to your guns. You're like, I'm so paranoid about, like, comedic timing, right? Because this, you know, I'm always like, I'm never gonna die again in Dark Souls, and then I die. So I gotta be real careful about what I tweet. People are out here just playing with fire, you know? They're just playing God constantly, like taunting fate. Anyway, so that's the anecdote that I have. I just can't imagine anything that would, you know, damage the position of your argument more than dying from the thing that you just said was safe. But I get that this is gonna be controversial. But hey, man, it's 2021. Hey, it's edgy egg now. It's so edgy. I hope nobody gets offended by this, but, you know, if you do, I apologize. I'll rework it, but, frick 'em. Hunger Games? No thanks. I'm still full. Please. I have 4 luck. You owe me, some goodness. You know, this is heavy hubris levels. I kind of don't want to take Maggie's Faith because I want to keep the invincibility from Empty Vessel. If we get HP here, I'm okay with it because I know that we're going to have a deal with the devil after this because of Goathead. The deal with the devil is very, you know, more likely than usual to have items that we can trade HP on because we've already fought Krampus. You know, it could still have red chests, don't get me wrong, but we've taken one of the outs out of there. Okay, well, it turns out it's just trash anyway, so disregard. What was I thinking? So I think we're gonna stick with not Maggie's Faith. Maggie's Faith would only give us 1 HP anyway, and it would only show up on the chest if you play the tape forward on this one. The Ace of Clubs. Donkey donk. I mean, I'll sit here, man. Like, I do wanna win. It might surprise you, but it's true, man. I do wanna win. Haven't exactly been playing with the you know, reserved attitude lately. Especially as Apollyon, we kind of been, you know, trading a bird in the hand for 2 in the bush. Only sometimes in the bush it's just a man rustling the branches trying to make us think that there's 2 birds in there. And then he says, "Ha, got you." And I say, "Oh, you stinky. What are you doing in that bush?" I don't know where I'm going with that one. That's okay though. Dude, I'm just like, oh, my brain is aching for that second cup of coffee right now. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm just like, oh. That second cup of coffee, man. Something beautiful about it. Yeah. There you go. It's good. We maxed out our shot speed. Probably, you know, what is shot speed? The 7th most valuable stat in the game? It seems pretty good. I went off on it in the tier list, man, but like one of the things that kind of like look, if you had a time machine, you can go back in time. There's probably other mistakes you would like try to change first, right? But one of the things that I think has contributed to Isaac feeling like particularly kind of grindy and punishing is the fact that, like, you know, especially with Apollyon, it sounds really cool that you could like reroll a bad item into a stat upgrade, but like almost all the stats in the game are essentially like they do nothing to actually contribute to your chances of winning. Like speed, one upgrade helps. One downgrade can really hurt you. Sure, that's my take anyway. Some people might feel like their numbers might be slightly changed. It's not a critical stat, but at least it helps. Tears of damage, and HP for that matter, very critical stats, but for some reason HP isn't a stat, it's like a special attribute. Well, I mean, we'd have to be a fool not to at least interface with this. And then, you know, tears and damage, insanely important, everybody agrees on that, I think. Luck has some value, but it's kind of like in that speed camp. I don't think it's like very critical. And then to be honest with you, I kind of feel like range and shot speed are both largely useless. Ghost Pepper's pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna take sad bombs instead. Range is one of those things I feel like you kind of only notice it when you don't have it. There are items, like, I think people very heavily overrate range items, or at least, like, they seem very keen to, like, argue in favor of, like, range isn't that bad. And then when you actually walk through it, you're like, what situations have you actually found yourself impeded by range? You know, it's always self-inflicted. You always took some kind of range downgrade that probably came with some other benefits at some point, which is fine. In which case, congratulations, there's 700 range upgrades in the game, so more power to you. You're probably not going to suffer for too long. Secondly, yeah, we prefer black. Do we prefer black rune? I don't know, but we're holding it. Secondly, those situations, like, by definition, are fairly rare. Because you know what? We already have a black rune. It's called Void, sweetheart. Look it up. Those situations, by definition, are quite rare. You know, you have to get an item to begin with that enables the range upgrade to actually be useful. It's not useful statically, like in a vacuum. Shot speed, kind of similar. You know, if you get a shot speed downgrade, you're like, okay, maybe I'm starting to notice, but even then, sometimes not really. So I'm not going to That's fine. I'm not gonna reroll that. I actually feel like we're just better off using it for the chest on the next floor. That was not smart, but that's okay. Should still be pretty good here. You know, we got Monkey's Paw. We got a very positive run. Very nice. Okay, okay. So we want this. We don't need the charge. We come down. I'm just saying, like, there's only, like, 3 stats in this game that matter. HP, damage, and tears. And I've played 4,000 runs of it. Like, this hurts a little. You know what? I'm just going to assume we made the right decision there. You can disagree with me if you want. You know, I'm not saying that I'm not appealing to authority necessarily. But you should acknowledge that if you believe that I'm arguing in good faith, then there's some credibility behind it, you know? This is not, you know, your average argument on the internet where people are like, I don't know how this works, had no real-world experience with this whatsoever, but my hunch is that you are a fool. And nobody could convince me otherwise, you know? It's not like that. I played a little of this game. I've been known to. It's kind of my thing, if you will. I should focus a little bit more. This one actually has the potential to go kind of up in smoke. You ever think about the movie? Have you ever seen How High, starring Method Man and Redman? Let me, and you won't believe this. And by the way, they, you know, when they were making the movie, they knew what they were doing. They weren't like, oh, this seems like a clever premise. The movie How High is about how stoners, Method Man, and Redman get into, I forget what school it is. It might be Harvard, but it's like how they get into an Ivy League school, okay? And then, you know, in the Ivy League school, all sorts of hijinks ensue because Method Man and Redman, you know, they're not like other Ivy League students, you know? They say the F word and stuff like that, and they imbibe, you know, fancy cigarettes, if you know what I mean, which no other college student in history has been known to do. Also, I have to imagine that part of the issue, you know, with Method Man and Redman being in Harvard and, you know, the classmates kind of being like, what's up with that, is that they are, you know, famous members of the rap collective, the Wu-Tang Clan. And then also, all the other underclassmen were, you know, between the ages of 17 and 22, and they were about 33. But anyway, regardless, I'm not saying they shouldn't get there. In fact, they got there on merit. And what was the merit? They had a really, really smart friend who died, and then they smoke his ashes. And then, after smoking his ashes, they gain his intelligence, and they go on to score like a perfect score on the SAT. It's quite a trip if you've never seen it. I would recommend it. I'm a huge proponent. I would rather watch way more movies that are noteworthy, even if it seems to be for silly reasons, than watch movies that are kind of like, you know, functionally adequate but not that exciting. How High is one of the truly special ones where just the premise alone is enough to get you interested. It's enough to pay for the cost of admission. Okay, you got to think ahead on this one, because 3 HP makes for an awesome boss fight, 2 HP makes for a miserable one. So we don't take damage here. Forgive me now, but I'm not going to. A little chubby. How about that? We're going to just come in here and do a little of this, because this is what it's all about. Just a little. No problem right there. Okay. 1 win. Ladies and gentlemen, he's done it. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!